In 2023, Anthropic posted a job called prompt engineer. The salary band ran from $175,000 to $335,000, and the listing admitted in its own text that the field was less than 2 years old. This month, the same company removed more than 80% of Claude Code system prompt and reported no measurable loss on its coding evaluations. Same company, 3 years apart. $335,000 for the work, then 4/5 of the work deleted. So 3 things happened to this job, and I want to take them in order. 1. The model learned to do most of it without you. 2. That 80%, which is not what it looks like. 3. The people still paid for this, and what they actually do. Number 2 is the one everybody quotes, and nobody opens. We take it second. Number 1. The model learned to do it itself. Old models did not think before answering. They started producing the answer at the first word. If you wanted one to work a problem through, you had to say so in the prompt. That is where the most famous instruction in this field comes from. Let us think step by step. It was never a magic spell. It was a patch for something the model could not do on its own. And the patch worked. A team at Wharton Generative AI Labs tested it properly, with Ethan Malik among the authors. 198 doctorate-level questions. And here's the part that most write-ups skip. Each question asked 25 times instead of once. On one older model, that single sentence was worth 13.5 extra points. On another, 11.7. Hold on to 25. It comes back at the end. Then the labs built the thinking into the model, which is all a reasoning model is. It works the problem before it answers because it was trained to, not because you asked. The same Wharton team ran the same test on those. Plus 2.9, plus 3.1. On one of them, minus 3.3, 13.5, down to 2.9, and the instruction still sends you a bill. The same study timed the requests, and the step-by-step framing stretched the weight by 35 to 600%. The old cost, almost none of the old benefit. Now, the part where the folklore dies. A folklore had grown around the technique. People swore the answers got better if you tipped the model, if you claimed to be an expert, if you threatened it. That last one traveled far enough that Sergey Brin, one of Google's founders, repeated it on camera. Almost none of it was ever tested, tried once by one person, then taught in courses for 2 years. So the same lab ran 9 variants. $1,000 tip, $1 trillion tip, a shutdown threat, reporting the model to human resources. No meaningful effect. Expert personas went to 6 models, and on 5 of them, no persona helped at all. The averages hide the good part. Question by question, the swings were enormous. Up to 36 points better, and up to 35 points worse. The average sits at 0 because the direction is random. The words are not weak. Folklore just cannot tell you which way they push. One more thing got absorbed, quieter than the first. The agents ask now. When Claude Code or Codex hits something it cannot resolve, it stops and puts the question to you. OpenAI's guide for its current model tells developers to build exactly that. 1 to 3 clarifying questions when a request is underspecified. What you used to load into the prompt up front now gets collected in conversation while you work. The technique moved inside the model, and the missing details moved into the agent. Second thing, the 80%. Anthropic removed over 80% of Claude Code's system prompt, with no measurable loss on its coding evaluations. The same post carries a more candid line. They had been over-constraining Claude Code with the system prompt, with the Claude.md files, and with the skills. Read once, that closes the case. 4/5 of the instructions gone, nothing breaks, so they were never doing anything. And now, the part that sent me back to read the post end to end. There's no number behind the claim. It says our evaluations, and it never names one. No test name, no score, no before and after, no version, no date. The whole thing rests on an internal measurement that the only party with a stake in the result has not published. Say they publish it tomorrow. One problem still survives. The evaluation cannot see what was cut. The post gives exactly one example of a deleted rule, and that rule governed how many comments the model writes in its code. Now ask what a coding evaluation checks. Whether the tests pass, sparse comments, heavy comments. The test does not care either way, so no measurable loss and the behavior changed completely can both be true at once. The claim is not wrong. It is smaller than it sounds, and it was published at full size. Then the question I actually wanted answered. Where did the deleted text go? Mostly nowhere. That is not my reading either. It is sitting in the post's own section headings. One of them says to use simple tool descriptions instead of repeating yourself. Another says to use progressive disclosure instead of giving everything up front. Both describe a move. Instructions that used to live in the system prompt were gathered into tool definitions and skill files. Tool definitions load on every single request. They sit in the same context window and spend the same tokens. Skills arrive the moment the model reaches for them. So a good share of that 80% changed address. The system prompt got smaller. The prompt did not. And deciding which 80% can go, then writing the one sentence that replaces a page of rules, is prompt engineering. That post is not the profession's obituary. It is a work sample. Third thing, and the one that decides whether any of this is your problem. Who still gets paid for it? 2 searches hold the answer. On LinkedIn, roughly 560 open positions in the United States match the real title. The same words on Indeed return more than 80,000, but that is a loose keyword match that sweeps in automation engineers, AI scientists, anything standing nearby. 560 against 80,000. The words are everywhere, and the role is almost nowhere. Webmaster died exactly this way. The work did not stop. It spread into everybody's job until a separate title stopped meaning anything. One correction while we are here. You will see it repeated that Microsoft's Work Trend Index ranked prompt engineer second from last among the roles companies plan to hire. I went looking and could not find that ranking in the report. Quoted everywhere, traced nowhere. I would rather show you 2 searches you can open than a statistic. I cannot. For most people watching, the craft really is finished, and that is not a sad answer. From a chat box, being clear about what you want is the whole skill now. The model infers the rest, or it asks. Here is the part that changes the moment you ship something. Every file that text moved into still has a person's name on it. Somebody writes the system prompt. The text the model reads before it ever reads the user. Somebody writes the tool descriptions, because that is where the behavior lives now. Somebody writes the evaluations, because without a test, nobody knows whether an edit helped or hurt. And somebody defends all of it against prompt injection. An attack made of nothing but text hidden inside a document, and the top entry on the industry's vulnerability list 3 years running. That last one settles the argument on its own. If words on a page could no longer steer these models, the #1 security problem in the industry could not be a paragraph. Sander Schulhoff published the first prompting guide on the internet 2 months before ChatGPT shipped. He agrees the tricks are over, and calls role prompting largely ineffective, counter to what most people think. He also says the discipline is not dead. He is not defending the tricks. He is defending the files. So, the 3. 1. The model absorbed the technique, 13.5 points down to 2.9, and the agent absorbed the missing details. 2. The 80% was a change of address, and the evaluation behind it was never named. 3. The title is gone, 560 against 80,000, and the work turned into a set of files somebody has to own. Prompt engineering did not die. It left the chat box. It went into the system prompt, the tool description, the skill folder, and the eval file, and whoever writes those is doing the same job under a different name. Type into a chat window, and this is over for you, and you lost nothing. Ship something that runs 1,000 times a day while you're asleep, and this is most of your job now. It stopped looking like writing a prompt. It looks like writing a file. What would change my mind? One study on a current flagship model with at least 25 trials per question, showing that rewriting a prompt without changing its meaning moves the result no further than noise. That is the 25 I asked you to hold on to. If that study lands, this video goes in the bin, and I will say so. And a prediction you can check. OpenAI will publish another prompting guide with its next flagship, and at least one instruction in it will contradict the previous guide. It has happened once already. Last year, the guide told developers to repeat their instructions every 3 to 5 messages. This year, it says, state each directive once, because the repetition now makes the model stop and ask permission it does not need. That is the real death in this story, not the profession. Its advice, once a year, that is the video.